Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a geopolitical puzzle. We're going to decode two satellite images from inside China that, when you put them together, well, they reveal a fascinating and pretty complex potential strategy for its long-stated goal, unification with Taiwan. Our investigation kicks off right here with this satellite photo taken over a super remote desert in Inner Mongolia. What you're seeing looks like a detailed city grid. I mean, you can see roads, buildings, and it seems to have just popped up out of absolutely nowhere.
Okay, so let's get into this, because it's not a new housing development, it's not a mining town. So you have to ask, what is the point of building a ghost city in such a desolate, far-flung location?
To solve this mystery, we first need to figure out what exactly we're looking at. Because the layout of these streets, it's not random at all. It's actually a very, very specific design.
And here's the reveal. On the left, that's our grid in the desert. And on the right, that's a map of the Boai Special Zone in Taipei, Taiwan's capital. The layout is a near-perfect match. This isn't just any city. It's a full-scale replica of Taiwan's political heart.
So now we know what it is, which of course brings us to the much bigger question, why? Why go to all the trouble of building such a meticulous copy of a Taipei neighborhood in the middle of a desert?
And the detail here is just stunning. It's not just the big, important government buildings like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Presidential Office Building. No, the replica includes everyday landmarks, like a famous soy milk shop, even a kindergarten. It's a simulation of the entire environment, not just the strategic targets.
And this just shows you the insane precision they were aiming for. So if you measure a main road in the replica, its length is about 971 meters. The actual road in Taipei, 973 meters. That's a difference of only about 2 meters. This is a life-sized, walkable model.
Well, according to defense experts, the purpose is pretty clear. This is a training ground. The whole point is to drill soldiers so they can navigate these exact streets by heart, likely for what's called a decapitation strike, a really swift operation to capture Taiwan's leadership and basically paralyze its government before it even knows what's happening.
You know, the replica isn't just for practicing moving on the ground. It's for planning the whole shebang. This large plaza, faithfully recreated out there in the desert, has been identified as pretty much the only spot in the real district wide enough to land a big airborne assault force, maybe up to 500 paratroopers.
Okay, so that's piece number one of the puzzle. Now for the second piece, we're going to switch gears completely. We're going from the desert to the sea, just off the coast of China's Guangdong province. So this image shows a busy port on Shangchuan Island. And at first glance, it looks like any other bustling fishing harbor you'd see in the region, right? It's just packed with trawlers, big and small, a perfectly normal civilian scene.
But if you look a little closer, you start to see something that definitely does not belong on a fishing boat. Powerful, high-pressure water cannons. I'm talking about the kind that Coast Guards use to disable other ships, not, catch fish.
And get this, when a reporter on the ground actually asked a crewman about the water cannon, he gave a surprisingly honest answer. He said, "This is our fishing boat, but it's also a militia boat." He's talking about China's maritime militia.
So here's the crucial part. These aren't just fishermen. They are a state-sponsored force that operates in this murky gray area. See, they look like civilians, which gives the government what's called plausible deniability, but they act on military orders, swarming other ships, ramming them, blasting them with those water cannons, which is exactly what we've seen happen over and over in tense standoffs with the Philippines.
So how do these two totally different clues, a replica city in the desert and a hidden fleet at sea, how do they fit together? Well, they actually reveal a single, really coherent strategy.
It's really a two-pronged approach. On one hand, you use these ambiguous forces like the maritime militia to poke and prod and assert control, but without ever really firing a shot. That's classic gray zone warfare. And then, on the other hand, you're secretly preparing elite forces using places like that Taipei replica for a super rapid, conventional knockout blow if and when the decision is ever made.
And the ultimate goal of all this ambiguity is to totally paralyze any potential response. As one analyst puts it, the main objective here is to keep the United States out of the conflict. By using forces that look civilian, China can frame any incident as something other than a state-led military attack, which just removes the clear justification for an ally like the US to step in.
So what does this whole satellite investigation really tell us about the nature of conflict here in the 21st century?
I think the key insight here is that the modern battlefield isn't always a battlefield. It's this gray zone where plausible deniability is the weapon of choice. And what we're seeing is a parallel strategy, using ambiguity to try and avoid a war, while at the same time preparing with startling precision just in case one comes.
And this leaves us with a really critical question for the future of international security. I mean, when a fishing boat acts like a warship and a desert is transformed into an enemy capital, the old rulebooks, they just don't apply anymore. The challenge now is figuring out how to respond to a strategy where nothing is quite what it seems.